Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher from Sweetwater. We're at Winter NAMM 2020 at the D'Angelico booth with our friend Jeff Skunk Baxter. Great to see you, man.
It's great to see you again.
It's always a pleasure to sit down with you. And I have to ask, you're here at D'Angelico. What's the connection?
Well, one of my engineers, a guy I've been using as a recording engineer for years, was friends with Brendan. And that's just probably 4 or 5 years ago, maybe even more. He said he's just bought D'Angelico, bought the name. I thought, well, that's interesting because that's like buying Ferrari, right, or Maserati or something like that, or, owning the Shelby Cobra franchise. And so I met with Brendan and we started talking a little bit, and he showed me what he was going to do. And I own a few D'Angelico guitars. I got a couple of New Yorkers, looks just like this baby. And I thought, okay, if you're going to do that, I'm curious to see what you're going to do. And I got to hand it to him. He, without hesitation, decided that it was going to be the best of the best. It was to be as good as it can possibly be. Because, old man D'Angelico, let's face it, the man was the Stradivarius of guitars. Every instrument he ever built was an incredible piece. And Brendan has really carried that forward. That takes a lot of time, effort, takes a little more time and effort than most people think. Right. So I got to really hand it to him for that.
Right. That's awesome. One of the things I love is that he's so respectful of what John did going back decades and the classic instruments that he designed, but he's also moving things forward and designing new stuff.
Well, that was it. It's a guitar company, and we're all not sitting around playing in orchestras, unamplified guitars. Right. So he is certainly with the times, but everything has this little extra touch to it. It's not just a double cutaway. It's a double specialty with certain features, and the workmanship is fantastic. That's the big thing for me. I used to build guitars, and I was a freak about that. I mean, if there was one slight flaw, we just saw it in half and then go build another one. The instruments and the quality control and the thought that goes into it, Bren's right on the money.
Right. Nice. So is there a particular model that you gravitate toward personally?
Well, I'm an old guy, and I'm kind of an old jazzer, and I love big instruments. And I saw this. This is called the Throwback, 40s Throwback. And it's like I was saying, back in the days, most guitar players, that's all they were doing in the orchestra, It speaks, this instrument. It's gorgeous to look at, and it sounds as good as it looks. And the fact, I think when you mentioned before that he was, that Brendan was always respectful of John's original, well, I think in a lot of ways this is a thank you very much to John for the brilliant ideas and the wonderful concepts that he came up with. And I've been doing a bunch of work now with D'Angelico on some of their electronics. Because I don't know if you know, but I spent many years working with Dan Armstrong. I was just a little kid, 13, 14, 15, and we were the custom electronics guys. There was nobody else. So for that and growing up in Mexico, where there was nobody to do anything, my dad did give me the U.S. Army radio manual, which is the equalization circuit that Leo Fender used for his first amplifier. So yeah, between that and sticking a fork in the toaster to find out which way the electrons go, I've got a little bit of background, and myself and a couple of my very close friends we're going to do some very cool stuff with the electronics, stuff that nobody else has done.
What I love is that the acoustic response of this instrument is so powerful, and then when you take that and you add those electronics on top of it, you really get a great instrument.
It speaks. I mean, it's hard to explain to people that guitar has a voice. They say, yeah, it has a sound and electronics and stuff. Nah, that's true, but there are some very specific physics principles that go into play when it comes to reproducing sound acoustically. And these guys have done their homework. That's another reason why I like it. When I sat down and talked to them, originally Brendan and his guys, I said, have you thought about this? Yeah, we have. Have you thought about, yeah, we have. So okay, you guys have really done your homework. So he's built a company. He and some very, very talented folks have built a company to me that has I don't see anything else like it. A lot of companies make guitars, but not very many companies make pieces of art. And not many people, you can buy tools, and then you can buy beautiful tools. Right. And this is I'd call this the beautiful tool shop.
Right. That's awesome. What a great way to describe it. So to wrap things up, tell us what's happening with you. What you working on?
Been out doing some corporate gigs. That's kind of fun. Been working on advancing the pedal steel, bringing that into the 21st century. Nice. With some, again, really cool electronics. I'm blessed to work with a lot of folks in some very cutting-edge companies, Northrop and Lockheed and Boeing and people like that who know their electronics and have leveraged a lot of that knowledge into seeing what I can do to make the pedal steel the ultimate instrument, which I think it is anyway. It's a different baby.
It's a different thing,
If you want to go through the mud, you get an SUV. If you want to race, you get an AC Cobra. Right. So right tool for the right job. But I've been doing that. Finished up a solo record and probably going to get that out in a little while.
Nice.
And life's good. I cannot complain.
That is awesome, and we'll look forward to hearing the new record. And I still call them records. And
made a new record.
We'll look forward to checking that out and seeing where you take the pedal steel.
I know that I've done it with Roland. We had a ball, and last time with Danny was fun. And I think what we'll do is we'll do it with Dan Gallagher. We'll come out there and kind of do the same thing.
Awesome. Well, you heard it here. We'd love to have you at Gear Fest.
I'd love to be there. I always have fun.
Right. Great to see you. Appreciate it.
You take care.
You too. Thanks for joining us here in the D'Angelico booth at Winter NAMM 2020.